Hello, good day, beautiful people. I am the Inspirational Lady Noble 365 Tarot. Welcome to my channel. I greatly appreciate you being here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I trust you will love this vibe. And everything you need to know about me is in the description below. This can be past, present, or future. You or someone around you should say it resonates and leave the rest for someone else. This is a general read. This is not a personal read. If you like a personal read, check out the description below, and I'll be happy to assist you with doing so. Remember that tarot is a tool. It's not the final rule. And it's a good idea to have an empty cup when you are on Lady Noble's channel and you really want to see what's up, okay? Hope you all are doing wonderful, okay? First card that we have here, collective, is the Page of Cups here. And the Page of Cups came out upside down, okay? And so there could be some kind of situation where you have experienced maybe being unfulfilled, some kind of mistreatment, something stemming from your childhood, okay? So it came up upside down. So this could be something that you are reflecting on, okay? You could be reflecting on this. Things you experienced in your childhood, things that you feel were unfair. Maybe you're trying to move forward. You could have been told by people, this is something you need to get over, move on, that's old, that's the past. You've possibly told these people, look, you can't tell me when to heal, you can't tell me how to heal. You know, it's okay for me to feel whatever I feel about whatever I experience. And so I'm picking up on the energy of someone who is, yes, battling, just reflecting the thought and the memory and the impact of the misuse or the unfulfillment or the abuse that you may have experienced, as a small child, okay? The next card we have here is a Queen of Swords. And so you are, you could have possibly maybe confided in someone about what you have experienced. This could be someone in your family, okay, someone you trust. You could have shared the things that you've experienced regarding someone mishandling you or mistreating you. And you've confided in this person because you assume that they were aware of the mistreatment that you received. And so it's like you're hoping to experience and witness someone being honest with you regarding this mistreatment. You are aware of what you've been through. It still bothers you. It has impacted you in a major way. But I'm picking up that you have confided in this person in particular because you're saying, like, I know good and darn well, I'm the child. This is my aunt, my aunt or an uncle, or this could be a parental figure as well, someone older than you, someone that you have a lot of conversations with. You confide in them a lot. And you're assuming that they are aware of what you have been through. And so you're looking for some kind of confession. You're hoping someone would say to you, or you're expecting someone to say, I know what you've been through. I was aware, I just didn't say nothing. And for some reason, you've been hoping to receive this kind of response, but you feel like they're playing in your face. You feel like the people in your family are aware of what you have been through, but it's like a shh, don't say nothing type of situation, kind of sweep it under the rug. And so, you're trying to work on overcoming. You're trying to do some sort of healing work. You could be someone who does a lot of prayer. You could be someone who's into meditation as well. I see someone journaling. You may have recently gotten to writing, writing down your thoughts or journaling. You could find that as to be something very healing for yourself. But I see you making a choice to maybe separate yourself from particular family members because of how you have been mistreated as a child. And it's not that you don't want to be around your family. It's just the things that you have experienced has been very impactful, okay? Impactful to the point it has affected you in your relationships, especially when it comes to being intimate or your significant other. This have possibly left an imprint, where you're unable to trust. And if you are a parent yourself, maybe you don't trust people with your children as well because of what you have experienced. And so you're looking for a way to move forward, which is wonderful. And you're working at trying to move on from this. You're trying to heal yourself from this. I see someone really putting in the work, really praying, doing the meditation, doing the journaling. You may even reach out to, a licensed, medical professional, whether this is a psychiatrist, a life coach, some kind of therapy to get someone to assist you with the surrendering and the releasing of the impact of what has been um, projected and forced onto you. You know, you were a small child. You're not at fault. You were a victim, okay, of circumstances in particular, okay? hmm This is a heavy channeling. This is a heavy read. I picked this up before last week in a read, but this is something Spirit is saying that needs to be talked about and spoke about. Enough of sweeping it under the rug. It happens in many families. There's nothing to be ashamed of, and you're not at fault. Okay. And so you're searching with the Nine of Cups, you know, for fulfillment. And that's the reason for your healing, you know, and that's the reason for you confiding, you know, in that family member, whomever this is to you. This could also be an older sibling, you know. But you may come to an understanding that the reason they have not confessed that they are aware of you being mishandled as a child, even throughout your teenage years, you may find out that this person has been mishandled as well, and they may be someone who's in agreement with sweeping it under the rug, not speaking on it, you know, just pushing forward and just trying to avoid speaking on it. Meanwhile, they are hurting and suffering on the inside as well. But you are desiring something different. And so it's like you are breaking a pattern, you know, you are breaking a pattern. I don't want to say generational curse, but a pattern that has been taking place within your family, you know, that needs to be revealed. There's something needs to be revealed. It's out in the open, and Spirit is saying you have conquered that part. But now, with you working on the process of healing, and you're actually applying yourself to do the work, and you will reach your level of fulfillment in your life. You will be comfortable and feel secure within yourself when it comes to your dating life. Because I'm picking up, this has affected your romantic connections. You know, meeting people, dating people, trusting them. You know, and also this may have made you promiscuous or very open with your sensuality when it comes to, you know, doing the adult things. Okay. And so the next card we have here is the Nine of Wands. You could have Sagittarius placement in your chart, but you're very resilient, whoever you are, because I'm picking up that this is very painful for you. You know, this is not easy. This could have been someone close to you that could have mishandled you or done things that they just should not have been doing to any child. Okay, but this was someone very close to you that you thought that you could trust. This could have been someone that maybe your parent or someone trusted to babysit you. This could also have been someone's house maybe you used to go over, maybe spend the night on the weekend, or maybe you played with their children, you know. And this was something that was kept quiet. You were afraid, you were frightened, you were innocent, and you still are innocent. So you are not at fault. You know, your spirit guides want me to keep telling you that you're not at fault. You are doing the right thing by taking the steps necessary to overcome and live a life of some kind of peace, you know. Speaking about it, I'm also picking up this Nine of Wands represent you persevering. You've been through much. You see the bandages here. You know, it's been very painful for you, emotionally and spiritually so. But you're not at fault, okay? But I'm also going through that you're having like a final conversation. So you could be bringing this issue up because you're having like a final conversation with your family. And so you're like, this person you're talking to, you're like, okay, you can either confess that you are aware that I was mishandled as a child. You know, you may not be saying this, but this is what you're thinking on the inside. But this is the last conversation. I'm getting ready to separate myself and move on with my life. And so you could have been indecisive for a moment about moving on with your life. You could have Aquarius or some kind of water placement in your chart as well, but you could have been confused about moving forward, you know, wondering, is it the right thing to do? Wanting to have a life where you are experiencing your family and your loved ones. But when you have endured and experienced such misuse or being handsy, I'm going to say handsy, by someone in an inappropriate manner, it makes it hard to want to stick around anyone who makes you not feel safe, anyone who you can't trust, especially if you are a parental figure. Maybe you do have children of your own, or you may not. But who wants to be around people that they can't trust? So you could be saying to yourself, and what this person, well, really, this person and the family don't know is the collective is having one last conversation. I don't see you trying to be confrontational or force, because this is a very sensitive, delicate topic. But you're like, I'm going to give you guys one more chance to confess that you are aware, some kind of apology, and you're making your mind up to separate yourself and sever ties. And so your spirit team is saying it's okay to do that. Do not think that the creator is going to love you any less because you're choosing to sever ties. It doesn't matter what our belief system is. All are welcome on this channel. We are all being watched and accounted for. Doesn't matter what your belief, your practice, or your worship is. And so the deeds that were done to you, that person has to pay for that. And it is known. What they think is, shh, don't say nothing about that. It's already seen, it's already known. But you're making the right choice, and it's okay. You don't have to be indecisive about whether or not you should separate yourself, because you're looking for peace and looking for healing, and it would make it quite difficult to go through this healing journey with these people around you who are being false. They're not being their true, authentic selves. They're not being honest. And see, with the Wheel of Fortune here, you're ready. You're very ready. As I said, with the Nine of Cups here and the Nine of Wands, we got security out here and we got perseverance out here. So with security and perseverance out here and the Wheel of Fortune, this is confirming that you're moving forward. 10 represents a complete cycle. And so you're closing out that cycle. Not to say that you will forget what was done to you, but the impact. You are now going to a stage of learning how to move forward and surrender the impact. Meaning, maybe you constantly have flashbacks, or you reflect on what was done. And so there's some kind of therapy or some kind of therapy or some kind of practice that you're going to partake in that's going to help you surrender that energy so that your heart doesn't be heavy. Spirit is saying, no, you won't forget, but you will know how to transmute that energy, change your pain into some form of pleasure for yourself, turn your salt into sugar. You could be someone who could become a life coach yourself. That's not for everyone. That could be for someone. Or you may want to write a book, a self-help book, or some kind of pamphlet, or, on how to heal yourself or how to overcome. There's something about what you have been through. You will be transmuting that and moving forward and turning it into something positive. Spirit is saying, no, you won't forget, but you're going on a journey to learn how to surrender the impact, meaning learning how to trust when you meet people, as well as trust your children around people. Okay. This is something that has been very difficult, not just in romantic connections, but even with friendships. Maybe you don't even trust, friends and associates. Okay. Either male or female. Okay. So you're getting back into alignment and you're learning to have faith. Okay. It's like you're breaking out of a shell. Okay. And so you're doing the right thing. You have to sever ties, with these people, in order for you to be successful. And why continue to sacrifice yourself by staying in connection with anyone who knows that you have been disrespected, disregarded, mistreated, especially if you have a parental figure who's aware of this and they're going along and not willing to, pay attention to what's important, which is their child, their offspring. A parent is supposed to protect, protect and provide, and also show love. They say, that's the three for a relationship romantically, but also that is the role and the job of a parent. And I'm picking up possibly for someone, not everyone, there was a parental figure, who did not protect you, and they were aware of what was going on. People act oblivious, but you were a small child. And so whomever was responsible for the supervision of you, they let it slip through the cracks. They didn't fulfill their duties, and things can be forgiven, but this person needs to be honest with you, once again, before I move forward, they need to come clean. But I don't see you being confrontational or trying to force a conversation that a person doesn't want to have, which is beautiful. I like that. I don't see you trying to force it because you've got your mind made up. And see, what they don't know, you got a surprise for you got a surprise for them, and it's a good one. It's a good one. You're moving on, and possibly these people may never hear or see you again, unless they're, I don't know, maybe you're on social media, maybe they're looking on social media to see, can they see what you look like or see if you're dating. You have families like that. They know they're not allowed in your life, but they'll come to social media, let me see what they look like, I heard they got a page. So I believe that's the only way they will ever be able to see you. But you're done. And I'm picking up, you're done. And that's going to be the surprise. Okay. If you are someone who celebrate holidays, you will not be partaking. You don't care what's going on. You like, no, 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 no. It's time for me to focus, love myself, and go on my journey. And I don't see you letting anything get in the way of that. So be easy on yourself. Whomever you are who has experienced this. This is not easy. Be easy on you. Be kind to yourself. Um, you're not at fault. You're not at fault. Okay. And so you're ready to surrender. You're saying no more fighting. I don't have to fight. I don't have to battle. But what I can do, I can surrender the impact. I don't have to forget, but I can surrender the impact that this experience has left on me so that I can live my life. So you want to live your life freely. You want to be happy and enjoy all the bliss that life has to offer. So you're standing your ground and you're taking your power back by taking these necessary steps. Okay. You're not choosing to do what other people in the family have done, which is be quiet and say nothing about it. Okay. And whether this predator is still alive, or they may have transitioned. Okay. It could be that maybe this person is not still, on earth. They could have transitioned, but either way, this is still impactful for you. Okay. And these cycles and these they have to be broken or they will continue. And hurt people will move on from generation to generation and hurt the next innocent child, or hurt someone else in the family or outside of the family. Okay. So it has to be broken. It has to be spoken about. hmm You're tired of being triggered when the topic comes up. You're ready to stand, face forward. You're ready to face the music. You're like, I'm tired of being triggered every time I hear that topic. It's time to get this off my chest and move forward. Because you don't want to miss out on all the beauty that life has to give you. You don't want to miss out on that healthy, nurturing relationship with a reciprocity. You may want to get married one day or expand your family, or if you have no children, have children. You may want to do things that include you moving forward and being able to trust people. You don't want that to get in the way. you know you may have some kind of, this is for somebody, you may have some kind of business idea that you want to build, you want to establish. But in order to do that, you have to trust people, and you have to trust your business partner. You have to trust the investment. This could be impacting you in many different ways, not just romantically, but in your life full circle overall in many pockets. And so you are regaining your stability back. You're taking your power back. And like I said, you're not forgetting, it's not being blocked out, but you're surrendering the impact and you are reestablishing your balance. You're recalibrating your energy. You're coming back into yourself. Okay. And they will regret, not being honest with you, not willing basically to have a confession. I know what was done to you. I apologize, even if that person isn't here and you can't speak to them. For that person, I wish you healing. Anything. But I'm getting that this family is like closed lip. This family is very close-lipped on this matter. It's like they feel if they don't talk about it, it'll go away, but it's not going away. Whomever this person has touched may move forward and become a predator themselves. They may become handsy with people inappropriately. Okay, that's the message. I have to deliver the message. This is not an easy message to deliver, but this is what it is. And I did not expect this once again. But here it goes. Heavy is the head and where's the crown? I tell you, so going within, making sure that you have a spiritual connection with source. Like I said, I'm picking up that you're increasing your prayer, your meditation. I see someone writing, journaling. You may have found writing out how you feel, your thoughts. You may have a dream journal as well. Maybe you write your dreams down. But either way, you know what direction to go in. You're not at a crossroads. That's another beautiful thing. You are someone who knows what direction you want to go in. You know what kind of life you want to live. You know what you desire, and you darn sure know what it takes to get there. You know what it takes, and I like how you're having this final conversation, and you're not announcing your arrival or departure. You're like, I'm gonna give you one more chance. I'm gonna give you one more chance. After that, I'm out. But you're not telling them this. It's going to be a surprise. Excuse me. Yes, I have to clear my cannons. But yes. So that's very clever. That's mastery there. There are people who, are unable to tame their emotions because we're all are different people and we feel impacted by things in a different way. But you're very in control of your emotions or your feelings. You're very strong. You have fireplace in your chart somewhere. You're very strong. You are very strong. You're not, you can be confrontational, but you're not. You can pull up and whoop on somebody, but you're not. You're like, no, I'm gonna do this the right way. You can do some stuff to get even to pay back, but you're not. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so the next card we have here is the King of Swords. It says conventional, intelligent, rational logic, power and authority, strength. Okay, so you could have a Libra in your chart, balance again with the temperance energy out here. So, I see you sitting on your throne and with the sword in the upright. What I love about the Queen of Swords here, lots of intelligence and the Queen of Swords is someone who knows how to communicate effectively and efficiently. And the way you're handling yourself, and the King of Swords, I'm sorry, the way you're handling yourself, uh, lots of mental power. You have a lot of courage. As I said, you're very smart. And this sword represents action here. You're taking action, but it's also a reminder. You know who you are. You're not ignoring what has happened, but you're refusing. You have you have a strong will about you. You're refusing to allow what you experience to create stagnation. You're like, no, 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 no. This is my throne. I belong here. And no, I'm not moving. Yes, it is what it is. Yes, that happened, but I'm going to move past this. And it's very beautiful. It's positive. Okay. I'm not picking up that you're angry, you're hurt, but there's a lot that you could do if you wanted to, but you're not. And that's what makes it simply beautiful. Simply beautiful. You are very strong. You have a lot of mental power. You have a lot of courage. You have a lot of courage. Yeah. To break this cycle. And with the devil, reverse is just perfect. You're breaking the cycle. You're breaking the chain. You're breaking those chains. You're not making excuses. You're not, going to be one of those people say, well, I was raised that way. Oh, well, this happened to me. Yeah, it happened to you, but you chose to change it. Okay. Yeah. So that is wonderful. That the devil is upside down. You're not chained to, any dark energy. You will no longer, you're going to work on, yourself, or you will no longer feel like you are changed to this dark energy, that hovers, over your mind or, consciously, like I said at the beginning, this could be something that you reflect on. Maybe you have flashbacks of what has taken place. Okay. And to have a parental figure who's aware of this and acts oblivious, it's just, that's pretty heavy, and that's why your spirit team is saying it's okay to sever ties. You're not going to be loved any less. You're not going to be liked any less. So don't feel that way. You may have people around you who may be opinionated. Oh, you shouldn't do that. That's your family. No, 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 no. Family are people who allow you and make you feel safe and confident in who you are. And so, if this is a family that doesn't make you feel safe and confident, then those are people who you can love from a distance. Okay. But they will regret not confessing and admitting the wrongs that they have done to you. Okay. They will regret it. They may be acting haughty now. You may have a parental figure that's acting very arrogant, siblings, relatives. This could also be friends. Maybe there's a friend of the family, like, oh, that didn't happen to you. That's all a lie. They will regret it, okay? Because they know the truth. The truth will reveal a lie, and a lie will reveal a truth. So I wish you good luck, prosperity, and healing. May you overcome and continue to move forward, but I see you are going to overcome uh, this. But this is not, this situation here. The way you're handling it is not for the weak. And once again, you are not letting anyone step in your way. There's things that the collective wants to do, and whether it's starting a business, like I said, getting married, going back to school to further your education. You could have also I'm picking up, maybe you have went from like change a lot of jobs. Maybe you're known for having a lot of different jobs. And the reason is, the impact of what you experience also left you with an energy of feeling unsettled, discontentment within yourself. And you could be someone who's considered to be, I guess they call it a job hopper, someone who, has a lot of jobs, works at a lot of different places. You could be here next month, this today, but by next month you're somewhere else. Um, but you're very resourceful. You're independent. You know how to take care of yourself. You know how to seek employment. You've never had a problem with that. But it could have affected you even in your work life. When you become frustrated very easily. Okay, short tempered. That's for somebody. Okay, so put the reading where it resonates. Don't force the reading to fit. But just about every one of us knows someone who has experienced, unfortunately, such events in their life. You could also be someone who has maybe chosen to go back to school to further your education, but maybe the unaddressed issue of this situation has gotten in the way of you studying, of you being successful. Maybe so you started school and didn't finish. Maybe you started several programs and were unable to finish because this situation created a blockage. A blockage because it's not something that you did. It's just a healing, that needed to take place, a surrendering of the impact. And we are all at different stages in life and we receive things differently. And they just want me to say it to you again, you're not at fault and that is okay. And if you are someone who's saying, well, you know what, I wasn't able to maybe finish my degree, maybe, years ago, but I want to go back, it's never too late. And it looks like by you separating yourself also from this family and choosing to love them from a distance, that you'll be more, how can I say this? You'll be more successful. It'll be possible for you to land on your feet versus when you were dealing with your family or in contact with them. Maybe you start a job and you were always unhappy, so you'll quit and find another one, or maybe you'll start school, but then you'll maybe do a withdrawal or take off a semester. You'll be moving towards a sense of peace collective. That's what I'm trying to say. You'll have more peace in your life, and having this peace will, you'll be more fulfilled. And being more fulfilled, you'll enjoy your days of work. If you're going to school, you'll be able to study and ace those tests and graduate on time or get accepted into that program, whatever it is that you want to do. Okay. If it's an apprenticeship or some kind of certification, you'll be able to go focus and study and attain, the things you desire in your life. So I wish you peace and healing. Later.